Hello friends, 30 years ago and a few days, a new episode of Star Trek The Next Generation was aired called Lonely Among Us. And these are my honest opinions about it. There are two plots in this episode. The B plot covers the Enterprise doing taxi services for two new races, let's call them Snake People and Dog People, who hate each other, are mortal enemies, and both try to get to the Federation. This plot is really just filler, and as soon as we beam the Snake People on board, the real story starts. The Enterprise encounters a strange cloud, and because they are scientists, they decide to do some actual exploration. Worf and Geordi are working in the sensor room, but as soon as the Enterprise flies into the cloud, Worf gets zapped from the console. Thankfully, Dr. Crusher arrives soon and takes him to the sickbay. Then we meet the Dog People. They think that people eat meat and are disgusted when they hear that humans don't eat real meat anymore. Look, they are different from us, isn't that funny? Ha ha ha. This subplot is both stupid and boring. Let's get to the real story. While Dr. Crusher examines Worf, she gets zapped by some blue lighting. Worf then wakes up, but now Beverly starts to act strangely. The strangest thing ever is that she goes right to Wesley, and she actually shows interest in what he's doing. Wow, that's really strange, right? She goes to the bridge, and the blue lighting jumps from her to the console. And Dr. Crusher, as the real expert medical officer she is, doesn't feel the need to inform the captain that she doesn't know what she was doing and how she got to the bridge. She instead goes back and lets Data and Picard wonder why the Enterprise computer suddenly behaves strangely. Different, relatively independent systems start to show problems. Picard calls the heads of the departments to find out what exactly is going on, but nobody really knows. We again cut to the Dog People, and we are told that they spend the night eating a huge and special animal. And nobody from the crew thinks there's something suspicious going on. This week's chief engineer throws Wesley out of the main engineering, only to get killed by blue lighting himself. When Beverly, after a small chat with her son, realizes that she suffers from memory loss, she calls Worf and Troy hypnotizes them. That's how we are told what we already know. They share their bodies with somebody else. The last victim of the Blue Invader is the captain himself. When he touches Geordi's console, he gets struck by blue lighting, what only Geordi can see, and Picard starts to immediately act strangely. He first orders, screw the delegates, screw our diplomatic mission, let's return to the cloud. The crew doesn't understand what's going on, but Picard has a good point. He, as the captain, doesn't need to explain his orders. We then see again a scene with the Dog People. The only reason why I show it is that we see Col Meany again, this time as a security officer. He was the pilot in the, pilot, and now he plays a security officer. He will later of course play the transporter chief Miles O'Brien, but I always wondered, is this security officer supposed to be Miles, or a completely different character only played by the same actor? But anyway, the bridge officers decide to conspire against Picard. Well, that escalated quickly. He gives you an order you don't like and you immediately rebel. At least they don't use any force, but Riker and Crusher go to politely ask Picard to go with them for a medical exam. However, Picard says that they are behaving strangely and they should undergo a medical exam. And you know what's funny? He's not wrong. After another quote-unquote comical encounter with the lizard people, Beverly returns to Picard. He privately admits that he's an alien and he shares this body with the original Picard. Instead of tranquilizing him or something like that, she does basically nothing. And when the Enterprise arrives at the Cloud, Picard has to go to the front of the bridge and tell them the truth. He also wants to beam out to the Cloud, and he ignores the fact that his body will die in space. When his crew tries to stop him, he shoots his blue bolts, and while they're blinded, he beams off the ship. Rest in peace, Jean-Luc Picard, Captain of the Enterprise, 1987 until 1987. Well, instead of doing the logical thing, promoting Riker to captain and continuing the mission, they decide to stay and wait for a miracle. And of course, a miracle happens. When Geordi's console writes that it needs to be, they somehow find out that Picard's quote-unquote spirit, or whatever word you want to use, is actually inside the computer, because of course it is, so he just needs a body. How do they get the body? Well, the transporter has his patterns still in memory, and because the transporter is handled as a magical device in this type of stories, Data of course recreates the captain using the transporter. Picard doesn't remember what happened when suddenly Tasha arrives. She says that one of the lizard people is missing, and they found a lot of blood. Well, maybe you should try to listen to the dog people and react somehow when they told you that they were hunting and spent the night before eating a huge and special animal. Also, why is this played as a joke? Well, thankfully this episode ends. I like strange stories. So of course I like a story in which a life form consisting of only energy invades the bodies of our heroes and controls them trying to get home. So yes, I really like the premise, but what the hell have they done with the rest of the story? The main storyline is pretty good, but it's just not a story which could be spread into 45 minutes. So they, instead of simply expanding the main storyline, threw a lot of crap into it as padding. There is a storyline which I haven't talked about. Data pretends that he's Sherlock Holmes. That's it. That's the joke. He behaves like Sherlock in a couple of scenes. That's funny, right? I mean, Brent Spiner really tries, and you can see he's having a good time, but his scenes, they are just a collection of a few scenes which I know should be funny, but I just can't laugh at them. I'm sorry, I just can't. The humor is the main problem of the story. It desperately tries to be funny, and it fails. At least that's what I think. For example, look at the delegates. They look different from us. That's funny, right? And they think that we are the weird ones. That's funny, right? Oh, and one of the delegates gets brutally slaughtered and eaten by other delegates. That's funny, right? Right? Well, pardon me, but no. Whoever wrote these scenes was trying too hard. Who really wrote this? It's credited to DC Fontana, but no. Just no. I refuse to believe that. I absolutely love the stuff she wrote for the original series, the animated series, and her Babylon 5 stuff. But what she wrote for the Next Generation is just one big no. Did something bad happen to her, or did Roddenberry rewrite her stuff completely? Her portion of Encounter at Farpoint was pretty boring. The Naked Now wasn't very good. This episode isn't very good. Some guy called Michael Halperin has the story credit, which would suggest that she has simply done a huge rewrite of his script, but I can't get rid of the feeling that somebody else, probably Roddenberry, has done a huge rewrite of her script too. The humor is not funny. The subplot with the alien diplomats is absolutely pointless. The subplot with Data's investigation as Sherlock Holmes is not funny and also absolutely pointless. The crew rebels way too soon. The mystery aspect of the show is interesting, but completely underdeveloped. On my scale between 0 and 10, where 0 is absolute garbage, 5 is average, and 10 is a masterpiece, I would give this episode 5 out of 10. I really like the concept of this episode, but definitely not the execution. It could be better. It should be better. But anyway, as always, these were just my opinions. Feel free to write your opinions down in the comment section. If you like this video, hit that thumbs up button and feel free to watch any of the previous episodes you can find on my channel. I'm doing videos about different episodes from Star Trek the original series, Star Trek the animated series, Star Trek the Next Generation, and of course Star Trek Discovery. And of course, I'm now going to work immediately on my video about the next episode from the original series called I, Mud. Next week I will upload my videos about the Discovery episode called CV Spaces Parabellum, or whatever the hell is the correct pronunciation of this Latin title. The next episode of Star Trek The Next Generation called Justice, and the next episode of classic Star Trek called Metamorphosis. Until then, thanks a lot for watching, and see you in the future. Bye.